Okay, so we're on page 3, 5.2. This is our second lesson in this unit. It's really important that you guys pay attention here because this is another way to solve systems. So today, there are 3 ways to solve systems. In class, we learned the first one, which is graphing. And you just look to see where the lines intersect. And the second one we're going to do today is called substitution. Okay. The third one we will do, I think, Thursday. So I won't reveal that. It's a secret. I know you're really excited. So when we're using substitution, we're looking at what the 2 equations have in common. Like, and when we graphed it, it was where they intersected. We're going to look today to see it's kind of the same thing, but without graphing it. So the way you solve this is at least one of your equations you have to put in y equals. You don't have to do both, but at least one of them. So it looks like this first one example, this first equation, is going to be a little bit less that I have to do to get it in y equals instead of this one, because this one looks like I have to subtract, then I have to divide. On this one, it looks like I just need to move this 8 over here. And it's going to be a little backwards because it's going to be like x minus 8 equals y, but at least you know what y would be, okay? So I'm going to do this first one. So let's write this down. Step 1, pick one equation and put it in y equals. That's your first step. Alright, so I'm going to do the first one. So we're going to move this 8 from the y, and we're going to subtract it from both sides. So you end up with x minus 8 equals y. Well, that's the same thing as y equals 8 minus 8. Oh, wait. Y equals x minus 8, okay? So it is in y equals, it's just backwards. X minus 8. Okay, so here's the substitution part. Once you figure out what y equals, you put that in parentheses, x minus 8. And then you're going to put it here where you see y. So you rewrite it like this, 2x plus 3, and then you're going to put that y in that x minus 8 that we just solved, y equals, and then equals 6. See here? It just transfers down here. So let's write that down. Step 2. Put what y equals in parentheses and sub into other equation. Alright, so when you sub that in, the only thing left to do now is to solve. So every time you see parentheses, you do that first. So let's go ahead and 2x plus 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. And then equals 6. So all we just did with there is just distributed. Zoom out a little bit so you guys can see all of my writing. Okay. And now we want to combine like terms. We have 5x minus 24 equals 6. And then we're trying to solve for x. That's actually your step 3. Solve for x. So we want to get x by itself here. We're going to add 25 to both sides. Oh, not 25, 24. Making things up here, sorry. I'm just going to cancel that out, and you're left with 5x equals 30, which is nice, because when you divide by 5, to get that x off, by itself, you get x equals 6. Okay, so remember, our solution has to be a coordinate point. So if we know our x is 6, then all we have to do is take this x, which is 6, and plug that back into our original y equals to get the y. I know it looks confusing right now, but once you get the hang of this, it's like, if we know this piece, how can we get y? Well, up here we know that y was x minus 8. If we know what x is now, we can figure out what y is. So y equals x, which is 6 minus 8. So y equals -2. That's your answer. So obviously, now you know the 2 ways to do it. One is by graphing it and seeing where they intersect, and the other is by this method. Now, this one had a little bit more work to do because the beginning was a little bit weird. None of these were in y equals up here. So if you look here, down here, this one's a lot easier because look, they're already in y equals. You don't have to put anything in y equals. So honestly, let's take, I'm going to take this one. I know you would think this one looks nicer because there's nothing in front of the x, but there is, and it's a -1. I don't like that as much. This is what I'm going to put for y. Okay, so I'm going to use this, and I'm going to put it for y in this one. So 3x plus 2, I'm substituting what they give me for y in this one into the second equation, equals -x minus 6. And now we're going to solve for x. So I want my x to go over here. I'm going to add an x to both sides. That's going to give me 4x plus 2 equals -6. Now I just need to move this 2 over. So now 4x is -8. Divide that 4 off. I know I'm going fast, but you can slow down if you need to. And you get x equals -2. Okay, so now we know the x of our answer, -2. So now we can sub that x right back into this, whoops, not that one. This one, the first equation. Keep it going. Right there. So now we're going to say, put that in for x. So y equals 3 times -2 plus 2. And that's going to give us what our y is. 3 times -2 is -6. Plus 2 is -4. So -4 is your y, and that's your answer. I know that's a lot, but we're going to be working with that tomorrow. I don't want you to do any of the ones on the back tonight. I know you're sad, but we'll look at those tomorrow in class and get some more practice before we do homework for that. Make sure you finish. If you didn't finish the homework today in class, 5.1, please finish that tonight for homework, and that's all we have.